Hey everyone, it's a little late right now, and I wanted to record this video before the morning to discuss crypto specifically. I'm not going to talk about anything else, not any of my previous plays today. I just want to focus on some of the crypto charts. We have a pretty good move overnight right now. Again, there's always an expression, don't trust an overnight pump in crypto, and rightfully so. A lot of these will fade by the morning, so it's possible I'm going to share this, and by the morning you're going to see this video and it's going to be meaningless, but I actually don't think that's going to happen. I think this will hold up as a meaningful video, and I'm going to explain why. I want to get into some of the technicals, in particular on Bitcoin. We had a pretty interesting thing happen. So, I think I told everyone in one of my videos recently that I was buying crypto. I bought it here, got shook out of the trade, and then it recovered. And I've been sort of getting back into the trade now that we've been breaking resistance, now that we're getting sort of follow through on this move. I'm going to tell you right now what we need to see. If you follow my trend line analysis, you have to also follow not just the trend lines, but you have to follow confirmation rules. You have to understand candle theory. You have to understand chart patterns. So, important thing right now is we're in a bear flag. We have now broken above resistance on the bear flag, but I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're a new trader, this is not a confirmed reversal. So we need this candle here to close above this previous high around. We actually double top there already at 81,750. We need to close above it tomorrow. If we do, then crypto has confirmed something very special. Okay, that's what we need. What we need to see this, because even tomorrow we could go all the way up to the 200 SMA here at 83, have a really tall wick, and then come right back down, close still above the trend line, but below this high. That would not be confirmation, and then we'd have a topping tail, and that could lead to a reversal on Friday. So would that be Friday? Wednesday? Wednesday? Yeah, by Thursday. Thursday we could have a reversal. Thursday or Friday. I want to be clear, that is not my expectation. I think crypto is about to make a pretty explosive move, but technically the charts are in charge, and I want to be clear. Just because I say that, that doesn't mean it's going to happen. But all we can do as a trader is play the probabilities. So why do I think it's going to happen? Okay, well, you can see the last bear flag, we never had this trap scenario. Every time in the past, in every bear market, when you've had bear flags, they've been respected. They didn't trap ever. No trap, no trap. This was much more of a bear pennant. It was respected. It never faked out. Never had a fake out, or it never at least closed above and confirmed and then reversed back down. It always respected resistance and then rolled over. Same thing here. So and that was the only time the bear flag, when we did invalidate the bear flag, actually was at the lows in November. You can see this was sort of a flag here, and then it broke above, and then it held higher. It actually eventually came back much later on in 2023 and held and went higher. So even if we do have a pretty good rally in crypto, it's always possible by the end of the year or in the summer we could have a little bit of a correction in the markets, and crypto might come down to retest some previous resistance turn support. Just keep that in mind. But anyway, focusing on Bitcoin right now, it is looking good. We need that one more candle. I want to focus on a few more charts. I talked about this with Money Mike if you tuned into our live stream on Sunday, and what I said is aging very well already. I said, guys, USDT dominance is telling us a different story than typical bear markets. And what this is not a bull flag. Despite my trend lines suggesting it might be, you have to look at the candles. And this is a rejection candle. So this is actually inside bar consolidation. It took me a while to realize that, actually. Even me, for a while, I thought it was a bull flag. And then I saw this candle, and I'm like, no, that's rejection. This is inside bar bearish action. I am not expecting this to break out. I'm expecting this to hit the 200, probably get a bounce. Crypto's going to maybe have a bit of a pullback during this time, and then we're going to roll over. If you actually go back in USDT dominance past to the last bear market, right here. Look at this. Same thing. Same thing. Oop. Rejection candle. We had a breakout, a rejection candle, and this price action consolidated for several months within the height of this candle. And notice how it never closed above it. It would have had to close above to invalidate this bearish rejection candle. It didn't. We rolled over and the bull market started. So I do think something like that is happening in crypto right now. I don't think this is a false move. That's my interpretation. Technically, we don't know yet. We still have to get confirmation. We will know this week. I will tell you that much. If this is a real move or a false breakout, we will know, I think, this week, not even next week. Solana. I did take a position in Solana. I haven't really gone near any of the altcoins. You know, I wasn't buying the bottom because they've been terrible. They have not performed, and I don't regret this decision at all. I basically decided I will get into Solana with managed position size when it shows that it's about to make a move. But I'm not touching it. I'm not going to try to guess the bottom because the alts have just been terrible for years. So I think there's an argument to try to play some ETH for the next cycle. ETH has been actually holding up in this bear market. Actually, it hasn't even made a new low. Think about that compared to 2025's low. So whereas Solana put in a lower low. So I think ETH could outperform in the next bull market. That is my base case. I think ETH will put in a new high, but not this year, guys. I want to be very clear. I'm not an all-time high permabull, right? I've gone to cautiously bullish now on BTC, which is a best case scenario for me as a 4-year cycle absolutist. This is anyway. So let's look at Solana. This is very, undoubtedly this is a bearish looking pennant pattern. These often resolve to the downside. However, given the technicals on BTC and some of the other crypto stocks, which I'm going to get into in a moment, I'm expecting this to invalidate to the upside. And what we need is this candle to close above, some follow through. And then, guys, if we get a follow through, so just a little dirty little secret about trading. When bearish patterns get invalidated, they lead to significant short squeezes, okay? Same thing with bullish patterns. When they invalidate, they lead to very sharp drawdowns. So if we can confirm to the upside, Solana could have a very explosive move, definitely over $100, but we need confirmation. I did get in here with a starter position, front running it a little bit, knowing that if we were to reverse and close below 83, the trade is off. That would be breaking down, but that's only $3 away. So I take a small loss on my 2x leverage position. Whereas if this goes to 115 up to the 200 SMA, I'm probably up 50-60% on the trade. So the risk reward just makes sense. I'm not saying definitively we're going to break out, but the risk to reward is looking good, and the technicals are shaping up potentially for a bullish reversal in Bitcoin, especially with the markets broadly being very strong. Another thing I want to point to your attention is the XRP chart, and then I'm going to get to the stocks that I wanted to discuss. We actually had a similar, what I'm sort of discussing here, the 2-candle rule. Earlier this year, we actually attempted a reversal out of this descending triangle. This is a bearish pattern. Flat line of support, descending line of resistance. These usually resolve to the downside. This actually had a fake out. It closed a single green candle above. If you front ran the trade, you got trapped. And then I would have basically been stopped out once we pierced the trend line, and then that would have been my loss. So if I was chasing, I would have gotten at 235 and got kicked out at 215. So it would have been sucky, but if you held, you got really smoked. It went down to 113. So you gotta have a stop loss on this trade, guys, because crypto can rug pull. It can do this. I'm not gonna start doing a dance yet when I don't have technical confirmation. But if we get the technical confirmation, as manipulative as crypto can feel, it does respect confirmation rules. So I'm going to listen to those signals. I'm not going to get stressed about liquidations and things like that, because otherwise you'll never take the trade. You got to eventually trust your confirmation rules, trust the trend lines, and put some money to work if that's your thing, or trade in a simulator if you want. So that's XRP. Same thing. All the alts are in these little pennant patterns. These mature pretty much by next week, guys. We're gonna get a move in the alts, and I'm telling you, like, no later than a week. These are gonna start moving. They're either going to bull trap and drop lower. Not my prediction, or they're going to break out, and that is my prediction. So, same thing with coin. I'm looking at getting into coin tomorrow. I basically am just looking at coin to pretty much respect this pattern. I think it will. I just don't want to really go below 185. I'm not seeing why that would happen. This isn't a great candle, mind you. I would say max pain on coin is in the mid 180s. But generally, your upside is, Bitcoin can get up to the 200 SMA, get up to 85, 90K somehow this year. I don't see why we can't retest the 200 at 260 on coin. So that's still, again, pretty good asymmetric upside. The Conel chart, which I've discussed at length in my private money team, not many people are talking about this. I'm not really sure why. You've got a clear wedge pattern. We finally broke it. Now we're consolidating. This is what we did last year in 2025. We broke, consolidated, we flagged, and then we went parabolic. And we even did that way back at the end of the last bull market. This was much longer consolidation, but it's still the pretty much, you notice the lows were in on Conel once we broke this wedge. We actually retested them later on in 2023. I still think we could get a decent correction in crypto. I don't want to make it seem like we're going to new highs this year. We could go up to the 50-week moving average at 95K over a shorter span of time, and then I would expect, that would be my max upside, and then we would see a pretty decent pullback from there. But nonetheless, this is looking very bullish. I like coin. MSTR had, they're down on earnings, so I just see that as a buying opportunity. Again, I'm just eyeing the 200 SMAs on all of these crypto stocks. We got 225, 230 on MSTR. I think 230 is sort of my upside target here for this move in crypto. I'm not really going to be holding it much higher than that because strategy, unless we really start to see some like God candles and really good candles. But we still have this inverse head and shoulders that did break out. Should get to a minimum 200, but my upside take profit is like this 230. I think I'll be out of MSTR unless the price action convinces me to stay in. Yeah, so that's it. I still also like Circle, had a really good move pre-earnings. Just bear in mind they have earnings in 5 days. So if you're in any options, I'd give yourself time, knowing we don't know how decisive this move will be. But again, we could have an inverse head and shoulders here. It's kind of weird with this W pattern, but that's a bullish pattern anyways. Kind of shouldering out. We have these two troughs. Confirms that this neckline, we pulled back today, but that's okay. We get above 128, guys. This could go to $200 just as a longer term target. What else? MSTR and BMNR. I think really, I won't talk really much about BMNR because it's tied to Ethereum. ETH is the strongest of all the altcoins because it's actually at the top of resistance right now, whereas most of them are just kind of really hovering on support. So I think ETH, if the alts can get moving, ETH should be an outperformer. We actually already have kind of broken out of this mini little falling wedge pattern. But we got to get above this 2400, guys. We got to confirm 2 candles over 2400. But I like risk here in ETH, basically between 2340 and 2370 right now. Put your stop in, probably below the 50 if you want to be a little aggressive. We don't lose that 50 SMA anymore. And that would coincide with BMNR, which I think is pretty much based out here. Very low volatility right now. Seems like it's in a bottoming pattern. We got to get above this $25. Confirm, probably back test it, and then go up to the $235. These can move quickly, guys. Even if this rally is only going to go for a month, all these targets could get hit because when crypto wants to move, you'll realize, oh, that's why I trade this thing. Because they can go up 50% in a couple weeks, and then you just got to make sure you're taking profit, especially in the uncertain. I'm not sure what's really going on, because technically historically I should say we should be still in a bear market, but crypto is doing something a little different that I do have to recognize. So those are kind of that's my input. I just wanted to do a very brief video here on Bitcoin. It's looking very bullish. I do want to also say that, I mentioned this with Money Mike as well in his live stream, that, every time with Bitcoin, okay, so we're at 50 on the weekly RSI. That has to be seen as bullish in a bear market, because we've never done that in any previous bear market. Whenever we got oversold, the next time we crossed 45 on the RSI weekly, the bull market was back. So if we go to the last bear market, we got oversold, which is below 30 on the weekly RSI. We got here. We retested 37, rejected. Tested 40, rejected. And then we decisively broke out here. And then you notice we hit 50. We cooled off a little bit. We went higher. We consolidated, and then we eventually went parabolic. And then if we go to the previous bear market, and I'm not going to do 2014 right now because I don't want to run this video too long, but I'll zoom in here on 2018. You notice also this bear flag got invalidated, right? But oversold, and then it's when we got above. See, we failed. Then we got above 45. Notice how we went off like a rocket ship. We didn't even really check back. As soon as that RSI got over 45, we had a really sharp move in BTC. I think ultimately, like if you want to be positioned in anything for crypto, you want to really be overweight IBIT or Bitcoin because it has performed the best in the bear market, all things considered. And I would say Ethereum as well, because Ethereum hasn't put in a lower low. I mean, it's only gone to 1,800 basically. That's actually an incredible bear market for Ethereum. I thought for sure it would go to 1,000. I don't think that's happening anymore. So if we get this confirmation on Bitcoin this week, which we absolutely will, if we are going to get confirmation, we will see it this week. I will tell you that much. I've been doing this long enough to know my time counts, and there's no way this will take longer than a week to either get a fake out or confirmation. What should happen if we go up, we confirm at the 200 at 83K, let's say, and we say we come down a little bit, but we close around 82 and change tomorrow. Let's say that were to happen. I would be mostly all into my positions, knowing that I might suffer a 2 to 3 day drawdown in my account to back test support. I don't want to risk that this just rips and I missed the move and now I'm chasing it. I don't want to risk it. I'd rather just get into most of my positions. I'll leave maybe 10% of my capital for a pullback, knowing that there's an 80% chance that 80,500 will hold with confirmation. Once you get confirmation, I want to be very clear. That does not mean it's a guarantee. People hear, "Oh, it's confirmed, so that means it's guaranteed." No. It means it's technically confirmed. So the chance of a reversal against your position is only about 20%. The probabilities go as high as they can for any trade because obviously no trade is 100%. But I would like to show you that as much as we complain about liquidations and market maker manipulation and all these sound bites, Bitcoin, whenever the bear flags have played out, they were always respecting support and resistance, and then support broke. Whenever we've actually confirmed above resistance in a bear flag, that's signaled a macro bottom in a bear market. When we can see that in the last cycle, we did it here. We definitely did it there back in 2020, even 2018. We reversed out. We went on a substantial move up to 13,000 all the way from 4,000. So Bitcoin's matured. It's not, guys, it's not going to 150,000 this year, but can it get up to 95K if we can invalidate this pattern? I think that would become my base case over the next couple months. I would expect a decent short squeeze, but again, we should know this week what's really happening. I don't want anyone to get overly excited until we get those two candles. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. We'll see you this week how this ages. I would also like you to keep in mind Hood. I like it, especially if crypto is going to rally. We're in this falling wedge pattern. I also discussed this with Mike. This is going to mature by July. At the really July, well, the intersection of these lines are September, but it won't take that long. It would probably go to latest June, July. In the measured move here is 140. So Hood is on my radar for a second half of 2026. I expect to be much better for this stock. It's really underperformed the first half because that's coincided with crypto winter. And I also want to keep in mind that even the software stock will probably start to come back because you notice they topped out with Bitcoin. Interestingly, right in this October period, we double topped and then we rolled over. We got the bullish divergence on the IGV, the software ETF here. You can see we actually put a little bit of bullish divergence in on the RSI. The RSI tends to front run the MACD. MACD is now getting a cross up with two green histogram bars. It's looking good. So if you have any exposure to software, that'd be Palantir, BBAI possibly, Snowflake. I've got calls currently on Snowflake in my money team. We've been in those. We're all up about 3% right now on those. They pulled back a little today, but I'm still bullish on Snowflake. So CRM I'm not going to personally touch because it's just underperformed for like a year and a half now, despite what crypto or any of the IGV. The IGV put in an all-time high last year, and CRM has been making lower lows. But I like Snowflake. I especially like Palantir the most of all of those. We got a little dip on earnings, so I will be accumulating some calls. Not too huge, but I will be getting in on that for a nice little comeback, I think, in the second half of the year. Get up, upwards of 170 plus. So all of that I think could be interesting. I know it's been a pain trade with software and with crypto all year, but these markets do seem to be intact. The QQQ confirmed a breakout this week. So did the SPY. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, we've got a confirmed breakout here. We got the 2 candles we needed here. We back tested and we're going higher. So the SPY looks like it's going to break out more. We are getting a little overbought, a little bit of bearish divergence here, but I don't think there's much to worry about in the stock market. Worse than maybe my max scenario right now is like a 3 to 5% correction. But I would expect new highs to be put in maybe until the summer. I want to be a little more risk off, knowing that this has been a very substantial move. At some point, we might have to see a 10 to 15% correction before end of year. So that's all I have to say for now, guys. Take it as you wish. We'll see what happens over the next couple days with Bitcoin. I'm watching. Really, 80,000 needs to hold on a daily close basis. We got to get that daily candle close above 81.7. If we do that, we're looking really good over the next couple weeks in crypto. Even if we would get a small pullback, that would just be the healthy back test that's common with after you get a confirmation. And then I would expect higher highs going forward. So that's what I wanted to share with you this evening. You'll maybe tune in tomorrow and see this video and see how it ages. But good night and good luck.